Welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. Now, today, I want to talk to you people about what everybody across the country is talking about. And that is the Saturday Night Raw or Saturday Night Brawl, whatever you want to call it, that happened in Alabama, in Montgomery, Alabama on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon anyhow. Now, let me say this. First of all, I want to say this. If Vince McMahon, the chairman of the WWE, is watching this show, I want to say to you, Mr. McMahon, the next person that you hire for your program, WWE, should be the gentleman that was wielding that folding chair in that video that we all saw, because he has shown and he has proven that he does know how to handle himself with a folding chair, which is often seen on your program. Now, let me get to the serious side. Okay. So what we all witnessed, folks, was an assault on a Black security guard at the boat dock there in Montgomery, after he had approached some occupants of a pontoon boat that was parked where it should not have been parked. He simply asked them to move the boat so that a commercial boat could occupy that space. Now, they had already been told or asked, requested, however you want to put it, by the crew on the commercial boat for over 40 minutes to vacate that spot, and they refused. So the security guard then took it upon himself in doing his job that he was hired to do, to see to it that they moved that platoon boat so that the commercial boat could occupy the space. But rather than doing that, they chose to ignore the guy, and not only ignore him, but allegedly taunt him with racial slurs and then a physical assault. Now, I've seen many people talk about this incident, but I've heard none of them really get to what I call the meat of the issue. And let me tell you what that is. Now, we were informed today that there have been 4 charges launched against 3 people. And these 3 people were 3 of the white instigators that started this incident. But what baffles me is the charges that were filed against them. The charges were simple assault. Now, here's my position on this. Anybody with 2 eyes, or even you could have 1 eye, that were looking at these videos could clearly see this was no simple assault. This indeed was an aggravated assault that was launched against this one lone Black security guard. Now, the mere fact that they didn't deliver serious injury to this guy does not negate the fact that that was their intent. The intent, when you have 3 to 4, 5 guys on one guy, clearly the intent is to do bodily harm. And so that's what those charges should have been. And that's what they should be. Any prosecutor worth a grain of salt knows full well that if the reverse had been true, and this was 4 or 5 Black guys beating up on a white guy, no matter what the situation, the charges that would have been leveled was aggravated assault, probably with the intent to kill. It's as simple as that. Let's face the facts, ladies and gentlemen. In any, and I'm saying this, not only in the state of Alabama would that have been the case, but as we all know, in any state in the United States of America, had this situation been reversed, the charges against 4 or 5 Black assailants would have been aggravated assault, and more than likely included within with the intent to at least do bodily harm or kill. Let's face the facts. So these people, and by the way, three people have been charged, only one is in custody, okay? The other 2, they're waiting for them to bring themselves in. Now, can you imagine that? Let's just say there's 3 white males that are 3 Black males that are facing charges. One is in custody, and they're issuing a request for the other 2 to turn themselves in. Can you imagine that? 2 Black men, turn yourselves in? Hell no. They would have the entire Montgomery, Alabama Police Department, the FBI, the ABI, all of them, looking with all over the whole city limits of Montgomery, maybe the state of Alabama, for these guys to take them into custody and bring them in. But no, that's not the case. One guy has turned himself in, and the other 2 are given the privilege of, whenever it's convenient for you, turn yourself in and face these misdemeanor charges of simple assault. Only in America will this take place. But now I want to get to the real heart of the issue, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about what's really happening here. You see, these people, these white males that were on that boat, are under the impression that they don't have to comply with authority. You see, that's the other thing that's missing here. If these had been 4 or 5 Black males that were requested by a white security officer, and they ignored him, and then assault, the question would have been, why didn't they simply comply? You see, for Black folks, it's always, why didn't they comply? Okay, and all of this would have been avoided. But not when it's white boys, okay? No, because here's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just tell you the real truth. The fact of the matter is, ever since 2016, ever since Donald Trump entered the White House, up until today, you see, the MAGA followers have been shown that you don't have to comply with laws. You see, law and order is for the poor folks. It's for the Black folks. It's for the brown folks. It's for the indigenous folks. But it's not for us white privileged folks. You see, we make the laws, but we don't have to follow the laws. You see, you take a look at what's going on even right now today. Donald Trump is defying a federal judge, and he is saying that he is being denied his freedom of speech, which he's not going to relinquish. So when this judge, who is Black, by the way, happened to suggest to his attorneys that Mr. Trump not talk about certain aspects of the charges that he's facing, Mr. Trump says, hell, I'm going to talk about him anyhow. So what is he doing? He's defying authority because he places himself above the law. He's Donald Trump. He doesn't have to follow the law. You do, because you guys are suckers. And so now you've got all these people out there that are followers of Donald Trump. And it's embedded now in their head. I'm enjoying my white privilege. I don't have to follow the law. I don't have to obey authority. And nobody's ever going to say, well, why didn't they simply comply? They feel they don't have to comply. They're above complying. You see, their attitude is, we do what the hell we want. You do what we tell you to do and what not to do. All right? You see, let me tell you, this is in the state of Alabama. The same Alabama that right now, as we speak, has defied the U.S. Supreme Court, who's looking into their illegally drawn election map, which had only one district in the state of Alabama, which is 35% black, by the way, but it only has one black voting district in the entire state. So the Supreme Court has said, no, you have to go back and redraw the map and include a second district for black people. And what does the Alabama legislature say? Take this, Supreme Court. We're not going to redraw the map to include a second black district. Why? Because we're white and we enjoy white privilege in this state, as we do in almost every other state, and we don't have to do what you say do, Supreme Court. All right? So let's take a look here. Like I said, since 16, how many white Republicans in state government, federal government, and including in Washington, D.C., and their associates, how many of them have defied a subpoena? They said, we're not going to honor those subpoena. We're not going to show up for a hearing. And basically, there's nothing you can do about it. And guess what? There's nothing that has been done about it. You know what? If you're black, I want you to try that and tell me how it works out for you. If you're brown, I want you to try that and let me know how that works out for you. If you're Indian American, Asian American, I want you to try that and let me know how it works out for you. I'll guarantee you there will be consequences for your action. You see, you will enjoy the privilege that they do for one simple reason: because your skin color, you see, because of your race. So that's where this is all started, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want you to understand, those of you that are thinking about even considering voting for another Donald Trump White House term, you've got to be sick in the head, and you should seek mental help as soon as possible. Because if you love this country, and if you love living in a democracy, only should you vote for anybody but Trump. And only if you don't love this country and you think you would enjoy living under a dictatorship, should you consider voting for Donald Trump or even DeSantis, which I think not many people are even thinking about anyhow. But I just want to put that out there. So I just want you people to understand that this incident in Alabama was not an accident. These people knew what they were doing. Clearly, there was an intentional desire to skirt authority, to ignore authority, to do what the hell we want to do because we enjoy white privilege. And you, Black security, don't tell us what to do. So basically, the only thing that they did not take into account was the possibility that this black guy that you all assaulted and teamed up on and ganged up on might not be the only black in the area. And they showed up and turned the tables on you and turned the folding chairs on you and gave you what you deserve, rightfully so. So next time you think that you don't have to comply, there just might be unintended consequences, okay? And maybe you'll find out what it's like to be black and not comply, all right? Until then, have a good day.